This is a Best in Climate episode of Earth Feels, where each week your hosts Rose and Christine read to you from some of the best climate-related blogs and articles on the web. Today's Best in Climate episode is entitled Ram Dass on the Importance of Inner Social Action by Ram Dass and Raghu Markus, published on ramdass.org. While this article refers directly to the U.S. political situation, it can be extrapolated and applied to any situation where feelings of fear, division, and anger appear to divide people. You might want to insert climate change in this article instead of President Trump. I'm Christine, your host for this episode. Let's get started. There have been many dark ages throughout history. As we now enter into a seismic shift within our government and within our collective consciousness, we can't help but empathize with the feelings of fear, division, and anger that now personally affect so many within our society. It's sometimes difficult to remember to consider the quote, long view in the scheme of things, and to remember that there has always been light to balance out the darkness. The reality of impermanence permeates our lives in every way, yet here we are in the quote, here and now, being tested in ways we never imagined. Our tenets of freedom and social justice are being challenged on a daily basis, and our principles of what fairness and equality mean are being vehemently disrupted. So what are our options now, not only for ourselves, but for society as a whole? And how do we harmonize with those we are in disagreement with? As we find ourselves in a deeply polarized country, it seems we have a fine line to walk. In the material world, we have to attend to our actions as individuals and as citizens. Yet it is equally important to attend to our inner being. Inner social action is necessary in order to make our outer actions productive. There is doing and there is being. In being, we have to quiet down inside of ourselves. We have to anchor ourselves in spiritual wisdom, keep our love strong, and remain compassionate, even towards those who we do not agree with. While remaining centered in our own being, we need to do whatever actions we can to alleviate the potential negative effects of this new era. A big lesson that we have learned is that social action is effective when spiritual quietness, listening, and the witness are present. With the cultivation of spiritual values like compassion, love, and wisdom, all actions have the possibility of a positive outcome. We can't make a difference when we are enraged. The mere existence of President Trump creates a spiritual curriculum for everyone. We need to all take a look at our individual fear, anger, and our labeling of us and them. That's the work. When we identify with our soul, we surround those difficult thoughts and emotions with love. We create a spacious and calm moment from within which allows these dark disturbances to transform. It's hard to do, which is why that's the work. It's the concept of fierce grace. The dark moments we are handed in life give us all the chance to dig deeper into ourselves as human beings, to turn our lives away from separation and into compassion and interconnection. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "We need enlightenment, not just individually, but collectively to save the planet. We need to awaken ourselves. We need to practice mindfulness if we want to have a future. if we want to save ourselves as a planet. The most pressing issue is the polarization of our fellow humans with whom we vigorously disagree. We may find it nearly impossible to have any constructive dialogue with those whose views we oppose. This creates a kind of divergence within us that gives power to a sense of righteousness. So how do we deal with that? How do we transform our own hatred, our own judgment of others? How do we relate to people who, in this case, directly support Trump and have a completely different attitude and opinion about how this country should be led? We are all Americans. That's our tribe. They aren't the other. They are part of our tribe, and that's what is frustrating to us. We need to engage with a deeper listening. We need to understand and appreciate the causes and conditions that created this particular landscape. We need to learn what produced the storyline in which we have become invested and in which we are inextricably bound up. When we spent time in India with our guru, Neem Karoli Baba, we had the good fortune to experience unconditional love from a human being who represented the potential we all have as humans. And that unconditional love is what we need to cultivate in order to surround these negative emotions with loving awareness. Loving is a tall order when we feel so oppressed by the dark shadows and implications for our way of life, including the health and sustainability of our planet. But as we know so well, embodying this love results in truly responsible social action. So what choice do we really have but to do the work of love? You just listened to the post entitled Ram Dass on the Importance of Inner Social Action by Ram Dass and Raghu Markus, posted on ramdass.org, and read with the permission of Mr. Markus and the Ram Dass Love, Serve, Remember Foundation. Ram Dass is the spiritual guru born Richard Alpert, and he passed away in 2019 at the age of 88. The Love, Serve, Remember Foundation is dedicated to preserving and continuing the teachings of Neem Karoli Baba and Ram Dass. You can find out more at ramdass.org. That's this week's episode of Best in Climate for Earth Feels.
Special thanks to singer-songwriter Kristen Hoffman for generously allowing us to use Song for the Ocean. Thanks for listening.
Don't forget, subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss an episode. Catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Children of the earth, I'm calling out. There's a mission for you and for me.